Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. Today we're working on Midnight. Let me flip you guys around so you can see what we are putting in. New window felts. I already did the driver's side. Now we're gonna do the passenger side. They are a little bit gone, you could say. These are getting awful crunchy. The other side was actually missing this section here because it fell apart and went away basically. Also has a pretty good air leak here where it was a little short. And then this is even trying to peel out a little bit, but we're going to go through and show you guys all the ins and outs of doing this. Let's get to it. Alright, so this is Midnight. It's a 1977 F-150. I already started working on this a little bit. You want to use a pry tool. You could put some tape or something across here to keep from marring up the painted edge, but we're going to be gentle as we can be. We got the window rolled the whole way down. You got to remember there's a window in there, so you don't want to be busting it. And this is rotted up enough that I'm hoping it'll just pull up out of here. Go, kind of rolling it in a little bit. I'll let these little metal clips kind of fold in. One at a time, just working around. There we go. This last one can be a bit of a problem. And there we go. And that's that. And we can see where we're replacing it because, yeah, the felt is pretty much non-existent. Do like any other truck owner, throw the pieces in the bed of the truck. Alright, now we can do the same to the inside. Throw that in there. Now you can also, the inner ones, let me grab the other piece, these little tangs that go in have a piece that sticks out. Now on the outside one, if you came in from underneath, if you get one sticking, you can come in from underneath and push that tang in a little bit. And that'll help it release. On this side, they're on the top. So if you get one that's sticking, you can look down in and see that. Push down in on it while you're pulling out. It'll help that release a little easier. Alright, that one come loose. It seems like the ones on the inside are ones are more of a problem in that nature. The outside ones you can just kind of pry and they'll pop right out. A little bit of tension on there. Hopefully you guys can see more than my bald head. As soon as I got that depressed, popped right out. Got one more. Find it. Way down here in the corner. Push down on the tang. Pry out on the thing. Slowly comes. Like I said before, this one up here, there ain't a lot of room to work, so it's more difficult. There we got it loose. Kind of flip it up out. And there we are. Once again, you can see them little tangs. This is just bent down around, and this 45 cut on the end of it's what catches. So if you push it in, that'll release it. Alright. Now, sucker twizzles in on the seat. This just pops in there. Just like so. And la da da. The front one's out. Now the back. That's how hard and brittle that is. It just breaks apart. Pull it out. And if we're lucky, this bottom half is together enough that you can pull it up out also. But I didn't think we're going to be that lucky. I'll pull you guys over so you can see what's going on over here, maybe a little better. Pry tool. It's kind of in there. Be prepared to do some sweeping after this. Don't clean the truck before, because you will be cleaning it after. These weren't glued in or anything fancy. They just had like a little groove that they kind of set into here. Yep, don't use that on the paint side to be scratching something. It is so dried up. Side note, while I'm tearing all this apart, multiple places you can get these from online. I actually went to Jeff's Bronco Graveyard, is where I actually found the ones we're going to be installing. I'm pretty happy with the fit and finish. So I would have to say I'd recommend their product at this time. We'll see how the weather does for it, but at this point, it's pretty good. Yeah, see, it snapped off. So you're hoping you want to get these before they're so dry that you could probably suck that up out of there, and then you don't have to take your inside door panels off. But those are dried up bad enough. That wasn't going to be an option. All right, we'll get the door open and we'll attack the inside. We're going to get the taking stuff off getting the door panel. You have 2 screws in here. Then this little handle comes out. You got 1 screw in the middle of this. There may be a sticker over top that you have to take off. 1 screw and that comes off. Then there's another screw in here. I'd like to use that. It's a little tight. Alright. Alright, 1 screw in there, then this comes off. Then at that point, normally, you would get a hook tool of some kind and go into the corners and pop clips that hold this door panel on. But the last guy that took this apart didn't know how that worked apparently. So they broke them all. So now mine's held on with screws. I'd like to come up with a replacement set of blue panels someday. You got one in through the side down here. And then that guy comes off. Now, like I said, there should be clips so you guys can see here, 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 and here, and one on the back side that you have to work off to get this panel off. But when they break them all, you don't have to worry about those. Alright. There's also a spring normally behind the where your arm kicks on this piece of paper. It is actually sound deadener. And they normally had something black here if you didn't have speakers, so that you didn't see through the speaker hole. Alright. Now, careful not to lose our screws or any of the extra goodies here. There's also, on the back side of this handle, there's a clear plastic piece that goes on there that's kind of an anti-friction thing that you don't want to lose or throw on the ground. Alright, so put this guy back on. We'll roll our window up to get it out of the way. Now remember, there's nothing to guide it anymore, so it's kind of floppy in there. So you want to kind of help guide it. Alright, then we can reach in here. And look at that, there's the rest of our lower channel fell out. Or felt. Alright, that's a good thing. Reach around up in here, make sure that is all of it. Yep. Same with the front, there isn't any extra pieces in there. Get around in the bottom of the door. You're going to have broken pieces of that felt laying in the bottom. You don't want them rattling around in there if you can help it. There are drain holes in the bottom of the door, but big pieces like this are not going to fall through. Every time you open and close the door, it's going to rattle. You can actually brush some of them through them little holes. Be rid of them. This is also a good time if you wanted to put a fluid film or whatever rust preventative you wanted to use. If your doors are nice and clean like mine are, this is a good time to spray that stuff inside the doors. Pieces of leaves, all kinds of stuff fall down in there when them things aren't doing their job. Alright, take this off because whenever you shut the door you're going to lose it. Most likely. Suppose before we do that, we actually do need to roll the window down. Because we're going to start our process from up above. Like I said, remember this is just floating in here. Now at this point, if you wanted to do the rubbers up here, you would take a couple extra screws out of here. I believe these two and this one. And that'll let you to move, and 3 screws up here. and that'll let you move this over when the window's down, so you can get the window off of the track here. Then you can pull this window clear out, or just lay it down in the door and pull this piece completely out to replace that. Mine are good. The rubber here is actually really nice, so we're gonna leave that alone. So if it ain't broke, why fix it? And then have to spend the extra money for those, so better yet. All right, so roll this down. All right, take that off so we don't lose it. And we will readjust. All right, at this point, make sure there ain't nothing stuck in here we don't want in there. And we grab this guy. Now this is the felt for the front here. The thing to remember with it is the side is cut out, kind of like a fishtail, I guess you could call it. Goes up. The other side is flat and it's down. So what we do, stick this in there. It into place. You may have to spray some Windex or some kind of lubricant in behind this. I'm hoping I can get away without it. I got that kind of worked in there. I'll pour the glass back. And hopefully slide it down in behind some. There it's going. Doesn't go easy, but it will go. Oops, and I got my glass too far forward, so it was out of the channel, so it was screwing me up there. Pull it back up. Slide it down in behind. You don't have to slide it the whole way like this, just enough that you can roll the window up and grab it from behind. We're going to hold it against the glass. Run it down while we run the glass down a little. That helps some. Alright, now we'll stick it in here a ways. Of course, the other side, this went very easily, and the side you guys are watching is being a fight. Thus is YouTube. Alright. Now, move you guys back a little bit. Open the door. Hold that up a ways. Grab it at the bottom and pull it out of the groove. Hook it kind of under the window. Pull the window down. It may help you slide it, or you get your arm stuck just get a hold of it. There we go. Get a hold of it. We're going to pull down on the rubber while we slide the window down. Put it up a little bit so I can get a better grab. There we go. Now you don't want to pull real hard so you stretch this stuff, because it will stretch. Another little bit to go. Alright, I think we're where we gotta be. Just a whisker more. Just feed it into the channel. I'm going to do this mostly by feel down here. Now at the very bottom there's a little tang that sticks out. You'll have to cut some of this off. But you don't want to cut it off until you know you're where you want to be. Also, as you're sliding the window up and down, don't get your fingers in between things. You don't want your fingers in between. Now, let's get this side up in. Squeezing the sides. And it helps to have your tool again of some sort. You can kind of shove that up in there. I'll go in right here real good, but I just want to be that way. You don't want to be real aggressive because you don't want to knock the felt off. Or let's use the tool to push in while your fingers work the outside around. Just like that. We're about in. The top half feels pretty good. We'll crank the window up, holding it against the felt. Take our tool and check the inside. Okay. Now we have to address the inside. Alright, so now this is looking inside the door. Got a flashlight in there. And this is sticking down below, focus, this metal strip. So you want to cut it off flush as you can to that. So what we're going to do snip right there. Snip right there. I think now that that's loose, we're going to pull enough of that out, and I need both hands. And you got a part where you can mark to cut it. So I'm going to use both hands and cut that, and then we'll stick it back together like we showed you. Alright, so we cut that off. Now we're going to stick this back in. And that little metal tab at the bottom that you're cutting that off kind of controls how far this window goes down on the front. Now the back side doesn't have that, so you don't have to worry about this. The only time you got to cut anything off back there is just because you want to, basically. Very good time to look around, make sure we did get all the stuff out of there. There ain't no extra pieces floating around. Also, where you can see where the original paint was. This one was originally blue. This is original paint. So a lot of times when they painted these, they just masked around this. But yeah, that's what that all looks like. Now we'll roll the window down and start putting in the upper shell. Want to keep the glass work to this side so you got more room to slide that down in over here. Now this piece, there's a little bit of, you can't just stuff it in willy-nilly. You have to look at it. You'll find a section like this that there's cut marks in it. The reason those cut marks are in there is to let this flex to go here. Now, the way I'm holding it is upside down, because that's where a corner is. It's short going here. You want long going there, so we got to flip it around, because the short will go to there. Get your corner in the right spot and then down. If you screw this up, it may still work, but it's going to bunch up. See how that bunches up here? Because it won't let this back flex apart to make it fit good. So got to go that way. So then we'll take our tail and we'll fish it down in the door. I wish I could make this easier for you guys to see. There's actually a channel here, and then there's a separate channel down in that this has to go into. And it's kind of a feat to get that lined up in there the first time. It's doable, but it's not friendly. I'll slide down in there. Alright, now we've started down in. Same kind of scenario. We'll stick it in here a little ways, just so we can roll our window up. We'll roll it up a bit, reach up in, and bring it down with the window. Now this is one of them points that an extra set of hands would be good. We're going to try to stick that up over that so it stays out of there. Alright. Bring you guys down a little bit. There you are. And hopefully you can see something. We're going to grab our tail. Get a good hold on it. And try to bring it down with the wind. Get started may take a try or two. And it's also a very awkward place to get your fingers into. There, we got it. Now, work this up around, make sure we don't take too much, because I think we already did. See, we're going to have a gap here. So, on this side. Work it up in there. Making sure you keep it cheated this way, because you don't want it to be short and end up with a gap here. I'll pull some back. This corner you don't want to poke too much, because remember that's cut in there. You don't want it to tear or something badly to happen. Need a little bit more slack. Peel it back out. Pull up a little bit. Like I said, having a little bit more pressure on it, squeezing it into this corner will keep it good up here. Hopefully you guys can see that. Yeah, we'll get you up a little higher. Now I can see better what I was doing. Yeah, here's where you don't want it to get away from you. So you got to keep it tucked into here. So to get more there, you pull up over here. And just work it around. Use my finger as a tool. Now, a smaller tool somewhere. Here. Another one of these little pry tools. And what you want to do, get you guys over this way. Being your own cameraman is not for the weak of heart. It can be challenging at times. Alright, now you guys should be able to see again. Now that you got this tucked in here, it all feels up in like it should be. The outside edge, here it's on top of the paint, it's tucked in down here. It does do that, but you don't want it to do it yet. So you got, after you spend all that time tucking it in, now you got to work on pulling some of it back. If you can catch this just right, you can get that stuck in there and it'll pry it out a little. Yeah, just like that. And work your way around. Making sure it's not caught it behind or wrinkled weird or something funny. If you chase your fingers behind your tool a little bit, it'll kind of help it slide over into where it should be. And down here it's going to go where it starts going inside, but when you put this piece in here, where the one quits, the other one begins, kind of. And the same thing on the inside. All right. That's coming around and meeting right up to the piece we put on the front before. Now we can open the door, run this clear up until it's seated against all this to keep it in place. Then we can go below and push that bottom piece down in, and it just slides into place like we did everything else. You don't have to worry about this outside edge because it doesn't matter in there. No one's going to see it. Lower you guys down a little. And grab our window crank. Now we don't have to guide it. The felt's doing it for us. Your window's going to feel a little stiffer than it has in a while. After all this works in. Reach inside there and using my thumb to push that into place. You can actually hear it snapping in where it goes. Very crucial in this area to make sure you get it because it'll make it tight, and it's where the transition from one channel to another is. I like basically run my hand up the outside and then the inside. Make sure it all feels uniform. Alright, and I believe we're good. Now this is a good time. Look at all that yummy gooiness inside the bottom of the window that you can't normally clean. Now what better time to clean that than now? All kinds of yummy gooey yummy guy. So I like to use this foaming cleaner. I'll spray some down in there. Same on this side. So it kind of soak down in there a little bit. Now this is where if you have an old pair of socks you can turn inside out. Get them kind of thick. Then you can just do this. This will also give your new gasket something clean to seal to. You got blue paint and everything coming off in there. Oxidized paint. Oh yeah, yummy. The outside's going to be the worst because there's years of dirt. Well, since 1977, nobody's been in there. May even have to use a razor blade to get some of it off the glass. It's a pretty black. Definitely not pretty in there. That didn't work. I'm up against the tool bench over here. It's a little tight. Alright. A little little bit of that's pretty solid in there. We're going to use our plastic tool to kind of loosen it a little. Now you could have done this before you put the new felt in too. Wouldn't have hurt, but most of your yunk is going to be down in this belt line. Because on the sides there was always rubbing on, so it keeps it clean. Alright. Much better. Much better. Now they did that side, I can see this side. Alright. Now, run our window back down. Now you want to look at these holes and make sure they're all sitting flush, and if anything they're tipped inward a little bit. In this one's towards that way, these ones towards this way, so that when your clips go in, if this is bowed out, it's going to hold your weather stripping at an odd angle too. So you want it as close to straight as you can. If anything tipped in a little bit on that one. All that seems pretty good. So we can commence to putting rubbers in there. Alright, these are both different as well. Your outside one, set that there. Your outside one will have this flap on it, and the felt on the inside, of course, but this flap's the important one. The inside one also has a flap, but it's on the lower side. So big flap on top, outside, little flap on the inside, like so. Alright, I believe we're going to install these in inside one first, because it's skinnier, then your glass has room to move around. Now I'd seen in my research somebody had a problem with these some of these not lining up. I believe it was this one, not on this particular brand. These all seem to line up, but you want to check that before you go to stick them in there to make sure all the holes and everything is the same. If you have to, there's just metal clips in here that you bend out, and you can poke them back through and move them to a better suited location. When I did on another video, I did the rubber strip behind the hood. That was something that is a bigger problem on those. But you want to stick this kind of front first, kind of standing it on its side, and you kind of flip it around in, because the windows naturally likes to be higher at the front, which doesn't make this getting in there any easier. Alright. Alright, got that one lined up. You also want to watch that you're not scraping up nice paint in the process of this. These metal clips will do that. Kind of work it down in there. Grab our plastic tool, and we can kind of walk it into place. May need to use a hook too, because this one got down too far. Have to work it back up. Kind of work these into place. You have to pry on the window a little bit. Don't get rambunctious or you'll be buying a window. hear them kind of clip in. And over here, we're getting a little bit of interference from our felt, so we'll push it ahead a little bit and try to push this in behind it. So that clips in. Pretty much everything you do, this front one's the pain in the butt one. There we went. Alright, that's all worked in. Double check back through. Clipped, 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 and clipped. Alright. Now, we can do the outside one. Same thing, this front one, pain in the butt. Gotta kind of work things around a little bit and get it worked in the hole. Just slowly let it down, work our way back to the next one. The whole time trying not to scar up the window. There went our window crank. There we go. The first two are the fighters. I'm pulling out on it with my thumb to make clearance while I push down on the clips. So they line up with the holes. There we got those ones lined up. Clip them in, clip it in, clip it in, clip it in. This one's fighting us. There we go. On our door handle again, our window crank, and I think most everybody's, there we went. This corner's still not completely in like I'd like it to be. It's getting closer. We've got to move our felt around a little bit there so they can work into each other. Go across, make sure everything's happy. All right, and that, as they say, is that. It was a challenge, but we got there. All right, we'll give you little guys a little bit of a close-up. There it is in here. This would also be a very bad time to lock yourself out. And then got a little bit of a kink in it there. Not bad. But pretty darn good. Up through here is pretty good. Along here's good. And you can kind of see where I was talking about. This is where you got to fold this out over the glass. But yeah. And that is that. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, really helps the channel. A lot of you guys have subscribed, thrown down some likes. It means a lot to me. Makes this all worthwhile. Hope this helped you guys get out in the garage, work on your project, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. I just realized I left you guys hanging. But the door panel, basically putting the door panel on, opposite of removal. If you still have the clips, snaps in, no big deal. 2 screws here, screw through there, put your handle back on, and you're back on the road. So that's that. Later, guys.